Hello, everyone, and a very, very warm welcome. It's so good to see everybody. And this is extended to my listeners as well as to the people who are on with me in video. Well, I am very shortly, or I would say I'm almost there to start the level 2 because the foundation courses, you all must have really done them and practiced. Have you all?
Yes.
Like in foundation, you all learned everything of how to make the natal chart. What were the planets? What were the signs? What are the aspects? So the basics you all knew. And after knowing the basis, to actually become a thorough pro in your astrological consultations, as well as without the person telling you, knowing exactly what is the problem with the person and how to apprehend it and how to comprehend it and how to give suggestions also. So the level 2 is divided into 8 slabs, in fact, 9 slabs. And we have one slab with 6 to 8 modules.
How since the first course that I took in 2020, I had been working to understand some things. So I've looked at Synastry and Pluto and Saturn, but I never had anyone to ask questions to. So this is very like everything, and Chiron, like I've just been like it's just passing my Chiron return. But I've never had anyone to like really ask, or, you just start piecing together things. You go, you research, you listen to someone speak and you piece it together, but never having been taught like in depth about what that can look like and the transits. This is very exciting.
And you can be quite subjective, can't you, on your own chart? I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it is something like in the level 2, normally what the other classes or schools or colleges have done, or even what I did in the last 5 years, is you learn something, then, you graduate and you learn more about the planets. And no, but then I wanted to make the level 2 in such a way that people understand the real nuances of it. So I had to cut it into slabs.
I think that's a really good idea, because I think that's it. It's applying it now and applying it into your own world.
Absolutely. So defining the difficulty of the challenging planets is important during the transits. So from the foundation, you know yourself as a person. Then you see that, okay, these are the transits happening in your life and how they can shake you. And then you understand what is the Saturn 7 stages demanding, which stage are you in? Because every time the Saturn comes into your life, it actually, you cross one stage of the life. So this time, since I was in my 6th stage of Saturn, so I really knew how I had to go and catch the bull by its horns and get my things back in order. While overcoming the obstacles is where the relationship synastry came back. And then I realized what was karmic and what was a soulmate, and how both have helped me grow and evolve as a person, getting me closer to divinity. And that's the idea then I got about, so all the obstacles actually turned rewarding. That is where I said all transits are not bad. They don't have to be bad. How you handle them is the grace. So rather than putting squares into obstacles and oppositions into obstacles, no. Even when two karmic people are together, you don't want to break the marriage, you don't want to break the relationship. You just understand the opposing factors, and then you work around that person rather than going on criticizing that person that he didn't do what I wanted him to do. So let's move on. Breaking relationships is very easy.
Yeah.
So relationship synastry is all about how to relate with relationships. So you don't stand in judgment of anybody. You are not opinionated. So this way, when you're counseling your clients also, they feel nice, because it's very easy to say, move on.
Yeah.
But the person who's going through it, how tough it is for that person psychologically is what matters. And that is how compassionate we should be to the other person. So that's how the Saturn and then the Pluto then the eclipses, and eclipses, the 12 stages of eclipses are mind-blowing. And every eclipse is different. When you start, when you let go, when you surrender, when you start afresh, you can actually shape your destiny. And actually, I did things as per the eclipses last year.
Wow, the eclipse 12 state is very new to me.
And
I'm so
otherwise, people
excited.
are scared. I mean, people are scared. Oh, there's an eclipse coming.
Yeah, and also I actually born close to eclipse, and I think my mom took me to like astrology in Thailand, but I think he didn't want to read my chart, but he read all my brother, sister, and he just said like, gave her the crystal. That's it. I don't know. It's like my mom took a note. My note is nothing.
No, if you look at yourself, born near an eclipse basically means a person who becomes a master of his own life.
Yeah, I think that's of the code that going through it helped me. Totally new person.
In slab 1, we are going to be starting with difficult transits. So the definition of a difficult or challenging transit, debunking the misconceptions, and working towards the higher purpose. In the second part of the course, we will talk about examples, tracking challenging aspects of past, present, and future, generational planets in transit, planetary retrogrades, the eclipses, and the Saturn, Chiron, Neptune, and the Pluto transits. And of course, the third part consists of the suggestions, the mitigations, and dealing with the challenging aspects and the transits. Then we come to the fourth part of it, which is that no transit has to be difficult. In fact, it is like forewarned is forearmed. Now, this is all about first lab, which will take about almost 8 lessons. And of course, then we will be discussing about the charts, and we require 2 complete days to discuss the charts for your question answers and an open house, so that you immediately understand. And after having done the level 2, it will be very easy for you to spot what the person is undergoing and how he can overcome it. Now, another slab, the second slab, is all about Saturn, the great teacher. Now, it's not that once in the foundation course, we just understood what Saturn was, how the placement is done. But now Saturn is the great teacher, and it is considered to be one of the most difficult planets in astrology. However, there is a reason why Saturn has been called the great teacher. Indeed, no other planet can teach us so much about life than Saturn does. So Saturn is a true blessing in disguise and can help us grow, evolve, and be better human beings. And if you're an astrologer, the course is going to give you a comprehensive framework for reading Saturn in not only your chart, but other people's charts also. By the end of the course, you will have a good understanding of the role that Saturn plays in your chart, of what your unique Saturn lessons are, and how to work with the Saturn's 29-year cycle and with the Saturn's transits. The course has 6 modules that include the video, the transcripts, the tutorials, and assignments. In module 1, it's an introduction to Saturn as an astrological archetype. So you need to understand that if an individual is a Saturnian archetype, here you will also learn what role Saturn plays in astrology and about Saturn's 7-stage development process, which is a framework to understanding and working with Saturn. Again, in module 2, Saturn in your natal chart, you will learn about the role the Saturn plays in your natal chart, more exactly your Saturn house placement, your Saturn sign, the Saturnian aspects with the other planets, and what we call your Saturn strength. Realizing your Saturn strength is like a score of how strong or intense the Saturn is playing a part in your natal chart. Now, module 3 is about Saturn's 29-year cycle, also known as the Saturn returns. The Saturn return is a turning point in our lives, and there are 3 other Saturn cycle transits that can help us to prepare for and make the best out of our Saturn returns. In module 4, the Saturn transits is one of the most interactive modules of the course. Here you will learn how to track your past Saturn transits so that you can understand what your unique Saturn mission is and how to make the best out of the future Saturn transits. In module 5, we cover some advanced Saturn techniques, such as Saturn's rulership schemes, progress Saturn, or Saturn in the chart configuration. Finally, in the 6th module, we will pull everything together and study several natal charts, of course, focusing specifically on the Saturn's placements. So these 6 modules consists of the 2nd slab, which is of the Saturn. Now, Saturn, which is a great teacher, is a comprehensive framework for understanding Saturn, and you are encouraged to practice and learn everything about Saturn, and then understanding why does an individual have to undergo these circumstances in his life, and also help the individual in overcoming those obstacles. The 3rd slab, which follows, is of the Pluto, which is the great transformer. Actually, just knowing that Pluto is a thing that destroys is not enough. One has to remember that Pluto is the great transformer, and a journey to the heart of Pluto is what we will learn in slab 3. The goal of this course is to help you understand, embrace, and work with Pluto, the great transformer. By the end of the course, you will have a good understanding of what role Pluto plays in your chart, what your unique Pluto lessons are, and how to make the best out of your Pluto transits. So this course has 6 modules and comes with videos, transcripts, tutorials, and assignments. In the module 1, you will be introduced to the planet Pluto as an astrological archetype. Here you will learn what role Pluto plays in astrology and what role Pluto is playing in your natal as well as transit. So what are the Pluto's general attributes, which are actually all over the chart? It affects the entire chart. And in the module 2, you will learn about the role Pluto plays in your natal chart, specifically your Pluto house placement and your Pluto sign, Pluto aspects with other planets, and what we call your Pluto strength and the intensity, a score of how strong or intense Pluto is in your chart, as well as in the transiting chart. In the 3rd lesson, that is the module 3, is about your Pluto cycle. It takes about 248 years to go around the sun. So most people will only experience a Pluto square and a very few the Pluto opposition. But remember that people who are experiencing the Pluto square are experiencing it throughout their life. And a general human being's lifespan is 120, but we still work till the age of 90 if we keep ourselves healthy. That's the minimum. So the square of Pluto is always in play, or for some people, the opposition is always in play. So the focus of this module is the Pluto square or the opposition, which is one of the most important transits of our lifetime. In the module 4, that is the lesson 4, it's focused on the Pluto transits. Some people find Pluto transits very difficult. Other people find them liberating. So Pluto does not influence all of us in the same way because of the aspecting to the natal chart. Thankfully, the Pluto transits help us understand how Pluto influences us in particular, according to the unique elements of our natal chart. In module 5, we cover some advanced Pluto techniques, such as Pluto's rulership scheme, progressed Pluto, or Pluto in the chart configuration. Finally, in the module 6, we will put everything together and study several natal charts, of course, focusing specifically on the Pluto placements. So Pluto, the great transformer, is a comprehensive framework for understanding Pluto, and you must be, or you should be encouraged, if you're looking to become a proficient astrologer, to study and understand this course and keep practicing it again and again, especially when the Pluto transit is in play. First, you understand what is the Pluto, how it is squaring your other personal planets in the natal chart, which generation you belong to, and then how the transit is affecting that generation. Now we come to the slab 4, which is of the eclipses. Now you must have, in foundation course, we understood about eclipses and we knew, but there is more to eclipses. So in this slab 4, everything you need to know about eclipses so you can navigate through life with a purpose. Many people believe eclipses are all about past lives and karmas, but that's not exactly true. Indeed, some eclipses bring past issues to the surface, but other eclipses come with great opportunities to rewrite the script of our destiny. So did you know that there were 12 different types of eclipses? Eclipses are not the same. All eclipses are not the same. They keep varying. Our ancestors knew how to understand the language of the universe. So thankfully, this knowledge has not been completely lost. I've studied eclipses extensively in the past 3 decades to reach to this level and discovered some key concepts that I would like to share with you. So all about eclipses, though is written on online courses, but with me, you all are going to learn the key concepts about the eclipses. Learn why eclipses are one of, if not the most critical topics in astrology. You discover the 12 different types of eclipses. You align your internal GPS and find out when you have a green light from the universe to rewrite your destiny and when it is the time to let go and surrender. You discover the strange ways in which the universe works in your favor. You find out how eclipses affect you and those around you based on the ascendant sign. You can become your own eclipse astrologer. Now, what would I be covering? In the module 1 of the eclipses, I would teach you the deeper meaning of eclipses. Eclipses as an allegory of separation and rebirth. How astrology was basically invented, it is thanks to these eclipses. It's actually known as the substitute king. The eclipse rituals I will be teaching you and how our ancestors used to trade with fate. The science of eclipses, disruption, and alignment. In module 2, I would be teaching you about eclipses and the lunar nodes in detail. The way it says, the serpent that eats it all, or the serpent that eats its tail. The role of the lunar nodes play in eclipses is phenomenal. So what the nodes tell you about the story of your evolving soul as you keep growing in life. Why some eclipses are all about karma, while other eclipses are all about free will. In module 3, the types of eclipses. and how to work with them. So the 12 different types of eclipses and their meaning, the subtle but powerful difference between solar eclipses and lunar eclipses, north node and south node eclipses, and how to determine the strength of an eclipse. This is what I would be teaching you in model 4. Saros cycle, which is a very advanced technique, the difference between the metonic cycles and the Saros cycles. What do eclipses from the same Saros family have in common? How to analyze a Saros cycle eclipse family to understand the energy of any given eclipse. In module 5, I would be teaching about the eclipses in your natal chart, how eclipses influence your natal chart, how to become your own eclipse astrologer, and step-by-step instructions. Sometimes I just look at the nodes and I can tell the person's history. Similarly, after this level 2, and if you do these individual slabs, you will not have to compile everything, but probably look at eclipses and know exactly what the person is suffering from. So I would also give you the list of all eclipses from 1970 to 2030, including the signs and the degrees. And understanding that will help you not only understand the individual, but what the individual is going through. Then we come to slab 5, which is all about relationships history, or relationships astrology, or synastry, like we say. Here we are going to learn the foundations of relationship. The romantic relationships are not easy. So if you're single, maybe you've never quite sure what to do to get the attention of someone you're interested in, or you're wondering whether that someone who set your heart aflutter is really your soulmate or just another life's lesson, or is it a karmic mate? So if you're in a relationship, maybe you find yourself fighting a lot, resentment is starting to creep in, and you wonder if you made the right relationship choice. Or perhaps you're trying to recover from heartbreak, but you still don't understand what went wrong. And thankfully, when we understand about relationships or the synastry astrology, we can understand about relationships in a very profound way. In fact, astrology can be the quickest way to improve your romantic relationships. Astrology can give you insights into human behaviors and relationship patterns that you will not find anywhere else, or that would take you years and years of self-development or therapy to master it. So what can relationship astrology show you? How attraction works and the role of polarity in romantic relationships. Your own relationship profile. You may think you know what you want, but astrology can reveal some hidden or overlooked aspects of your personality that profoundly influence your relationships. The relationship profile of your partner, your past partner, or partner to be. How to compare your relationship profile with someone else, whether it's business or personal. Relationship profiles need to be mastered again and see whether there is a match or not. How to improve the relationship with your existing partner and understand where one is coming from. Learn what your partner or partner to be really wants. How to nurture your relationship when it is vulnerable. So here is what you're going to learn in relationship synastry astrology. We will focus on the basic principles of relationship astrology, including the role of polarity or the 4 types of attraction. And we will dive deep into the most important relationship astrology archetypes, that is the descendant, Venus, Mars, the sun, and the moon. you will get a clear guidance on how to create your relationship profile, a blueprint of your relationship expectations, wants, and needs. You will also learn how to create the relationship profile of your partner. And when you will compare these two relationship profiles, you will be able to tell what are the challenges and opportunities of the relationship. Step by step. The foundation course, when we said, okay, see where the moon places, it is just knowing the character of the person.
Yeah.
Now, when you learn relationship astrology in the slab, which slab was it?
Five.
Yeah, in the slab 5, you actually understand how to play with your relationships. And if you love somebody truly, or you want somebody truly, you can have him dancing around your little finger.
Now that sounds interesting, Dolly.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. And if you're in search of your soulmate, but you're in a relationship, how to deal with the soulmate? So you have your cake and eat it too. So you deal with your karmic. That's why in the that is really cool. That is really cool. We come to slab 6, which is Chiron, the wounded healer. Now, your deepest wound becomes your greatest gift. So your deepest wound, your greatest gift is a program which I have actually worked on to identify with your deepest wound. Sometimes we think we are wounded and we are hurt, but how do we identify? So what we do is we start discovering and identifying, then discovering the best healing approaches based on your natal chart, and third, transforming your wound into your greatest gift. So we all experience these feelings of guilt, shame, regret, anger, fear, and inadequacy. So, but somewhere in an even deeper place beyond your wound, there is a spark of divine light waiting to be unleashed. So just like Chiron was born half animal, half God, there is a part of you that is human and fragile, and a part of you that is divine and immortal. So Chiron's symbol, which is the key, it is for a reason. Every single one of us is born for a reason. The key to finding this reason, this unique gift or talent, lays in our deepest, most primal wound. And the wound can be of the previous birth also. So your deepest wound, which becomes your greatest gift, is a course that will provide you with a clear framework to heal yourself and also help your client to be healed. So the symbol is the key for a reason. It can unlock your chart and the doors. Again, I'm repeating, it will unlock your chart and the doors to your psyche. So there is no other astrology archetype that is better suited for profound holistic healing. So in the lessons, like in the first lesson, we will discover the Chiron archetypes, the wounded healer. So we learn all about the role Chiron plays in the natal chart, the Chiron house, your Chiron sign, your Chiron aspects to the other planets, and what Chiron reveals about your pain profile. You get a clarity on what your wound is and on the early strategies you develop to cope with this wound. We will discover what is keeping you attached to your wound and why you cannot become a healer while you're still wounded. The second module will actually work on the shaman. We discover what a healing crisis is and how the Chiron transits and the Chiron 50-year cycle activates it. So understand why Chiron is the link between your past, your present, and your future. The present is the link between past and future, and what role Chiron plays in ancestry and your DNA, your genetic disposition. So the best approach to healing, according to the positions of Chiron in your natal chart, is what points this out. The last module, which is extensive, is, and that'll be the third lesson, is the alchemist. Learn why Chiron is the alchemist of the zodiac. Discover special signatures in your chart that can help you activate your inner alchemist, how to work with Chiron in Aries to turn your wound into a gift. And this Chiron in Aries will come in your transit, while the Chiron in the natal chart is where it will be aspected. So it is a 3-step process to turn your wound into a gift, and you will explore the process of wounding, healing, transformation through the 3 Chiron archetypes, that is the wounded healer, the shaman, the alchemist. These will be the 3 lessons initially, and then there'll be exercises and assignments for the next 2 lessons to guide you through the journey. And the 6th lesson would be guided meditations to facilitate the healing process. And of course, whatever support you need to really understand and go into depth. You all have learned about the natal chart reading, etc. But yet on this level, there is a natal chart reading pro. And in the pro, that will be your slab 7. And how to read the natal chart like a pro. And it'll be an online course to help you guys who are actually now pretty advanced. So there are endless combinations of planets in signs and houses and hundreds of transits. But how does everything connect together? So the natal chart reading professionally will help you make sense of all the astrological jargon so you can get to the bottom on natal chart interpretation. So this natal chart reading professionally is for you if you fall into the serious category of becoming an astrologer and you have mastered the art of the basics of astrology, that is planets, signs, and houses. And since you have now, in these couple of years, I would say you have really learned where the planets placements need what. So what are you going to learn now as a professional? It'll be a step-by-step formula, guide, checklist, quizzes that will support you in the learning process. And what are you going to learn in the first lesson is the natal chart synthesis. So you learn how to holistically read your chart with the 7-step formula, big picture of the chart, imbalances, aspects, stelliums, the chart ruler, special planetary aspects, and important houses. In model 2, that is the lesson 2, you will learn planets and your psyche. So how planets are connected to different areas of your psyche. Personal planets, social planets, outer planets, the bridge planets, Mars and Chiron. Identifying where someone is stuck and what kind of transformation they need. In the lesson 3, we'll only talk about house rulerships. We will go deep in the chart interpretation with the house rulers. What is the house rulership model and the difference between house rulers and planets in those houses? So a step-by-step framework to answer specific questions and get to the bottom of a problem. Module 4 will be the cycles of time. So we'll set the scenes by understanding in which planetary cycle you are in right now. Are you in the 12-year Jupiter cycle or the 29-year Saturn cycle, the 50-year Chiron cycle, 84-year Uranus cycle, the Neptune square, the Pluto square or opposition, and transits by your age groups. That is what do you call? I've forgotten the word. Profections. Okay. So you have to understand the age groups, because when you're taking the client into consideration, the first thing you ask is what's your age? And then come to the profection and see the house rulerships and the cycles of time that he's undergoing, and then how you can make a story of his life. In the lesson 5, we will learn the predictive techniques. See, we learn when the things are likely to happen and what this means for your destiny, the transits, the solar returns, the eclipses, the special planetary cycles in transit, the progressions, the solar arcs, and then putting it all together. So this will be all about the module 7, slab 7, Now we come into the slab 8, which is again a very, very important factor, because y'all are not only going to get clients, or even for yourself, y'all are not only going to know what is your present or what is your past or what is your future going to be, or how you're going to handle what your cycles you're going, what times you're going. Apart from that, the stress that we undergo mentally. So the slab 8 is all about astrology and your mental health. Because until and unless you can de-stress a person, you will never be able to become that proficient astrologer who's actually guiding the people towards liberation. So in the last slab 8, we will be looking at mental strength, health through the lens of astrology. And you will learn how each planet relates to a particular area of your psyche, how to spot signatures in your natal chart that can lead to mental health imbalances. You'll discover tips on how to restore your mental health with the help of astrology. So while we cannot predict mental health issues, but we can still point out to the mental health issues and work out on the stress factors on the basis of the natal chart. But we cannot do the natal chart alone. We have to see the transits in connection with the natal chart to actually come to conclusions of the mental stress that an individual is undergoing. So what are the imbalances? What is a tension in a particular area of your life? And which is the thing that you need to pay attention to? What is important for you? So astrology and mental health are another 5 lessons, which is much more than a course about astrology and mental, mental factors or your genetic factors. Astrology and mental health offers a very fresh perspective on the theory of your psyche and on the role only Chiron and Mars play. And Chiron and Mars play a great part in healing the mental health, de-stressing yourself, and living life to the fullest. So with that, we come to an end of the 8 slabs. And this mental health, again, is the last slab, because until and unless you touch the raw nerve, the mental stress of a person, how are you going to heal him or her or yourself? So even when clients are coming to do you, or when you are doing your own things, it's very important for you all to also understand that until and unless you guys are stressed out, how are you going to help the other people? So it's so important. So astrology is not only about these predictions, or astrology is basically creating your own prophecies by knowing what and the planets are working in so much of discipline. Level 2 teaches you the universal intelligence. If you apply it to yourself, is where you get your profoundness.
Yeah, your course is like comprehensive, like the way of life. Astrology is very, very unique and powerful.
Yeah,
you definitely give more than what.
Yeah, so this is the level 2. So I would be sending you, like I've made small presentations where you all understand that why is slab 1 necessary, and why is the sequence necessary. And you all will know what is it that you all are going to learn in each slab, so that you all can take your call accordingly. You know, if you're practicing and if you do the level 2, your practicing will become more proficient. Because when you're just doing your practicing with the foundation courses, sometimes we tend to become very nervous because we're not very sure.
I'm going to be honest, that's how I feel. Yeah. And that's exactly why I'm being honest here. So I'm just trying to comprehend. I mean, it sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
And I think,
even if you can never practice, and the moment you do the level 2, you'll be more authentic when you're working, and you'll be more like a master.
That's why I want to ask you.
Yeah, rather than asking the person, am I right? You're going to say, well, this is happening with you, and this is what you should do.
And I think a lot for more self-awareness, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think a bit like what you said, the mental health and the psyche about yourself.
True.
If I get that is enough.
Enough, yeah. And I think even you getting back and knowing things for yourself would do you a lot of good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, my Chiron.
and the most humorous part is when you come to know that it's a genetic disposition. So you immediately turn around and say, no, I'm not going to, I have to break this jinx. Because level 3 is something like once you master the level 2, then understanding and synergizing the Vedic and contemporary is a cup of cake. It's a very easy, what do you say? It's a cakewalk. But then it becomes so interesting that you can actually know that this is it and how to do the Mahadashas and people are so much into Vedic astrology today.
Yeah,
they are like, because it hits the nail on the head. So it's the nail on the head. So shall we now say bye-bye to each other?
Yeah.